Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Greek and the Irishman. Hey, the Greek, or I should say Dr. Mike.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Now, who's the Irishman?
Who's the Irishman? That would be me, JB.
JB, what's up?
Glad to be here
Yeah,
for
man, me too.
yet another episode.
Just good things.
Yeah, what do we got going on in today's episode?
We have a lot of things that are controversial to talk about, and I like that. And people are asking, what do we think about? Oh, so many things. One of the most popular ones is Twitter.
Tweet. Everyone's talking about Twitter right now.
Tweety Bird. So, do you use Twitter?
Occasionally. I might use it more if free speech actually comes back to the platform.
I mean, I think I used it when it first was around, and I don't even know any of my info and how to get on there. I don't know what people do on there.
The funny thing is I was using Twitter before it was cool to use Twitter. Nice. I mean, it came out in, I think, like 2006.
Yeah.
And I had a Twitter account.
Okay. And what'd you use it for?
All kinds of things. I actually used it. I used it for local purposes. I used to follow a lot of local businesses and local people in the Lehigh Valley and
Gotcha.
keep track of the buzz of what's going on in the area. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, I imagine I never got into it because I just don't know too much about it. So I know the younger generation love it, and there are a thousand things they do on it.
Yeah, Twitter's misunderstood by so many people, and that's why I think a lot of people don't actually enjoy it to its full potential. But I used to like to look at it this way. Twitter is kind of like it's like a digital CB radio.
Okay.
It's not like Facebook or a lot of other platforms, because you kind of like you put out a post or a tweet, and then someone could reply to it, and then you put hashtags. Hashtags started in Twitter, and it kind of carried over to other platforms. But the way the hashtag worked was it helped group together subject matters and topics.
So when you tweet something out and you have that hashtag, does it go out to everybody that's...
Well, if somebody searches that topic, that tweet will show up. So like, say like the Yankees and Mets are playing and it's the World Series or whatever. So if you hashtag World Series, now you've joined that conversation of people that are all talking about the World Series.
So you could be looking through millions of tweets.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who's got that kind of time? I got that kind of time.
Yeah, I mean, then, like I said, I've always been a nerd, so I was into that technology back then, and then
Irish nerd.
The Irish nerd.
Yeah. Nice. Nothing wrong with that.
So fast forward some years, I started using Twitter the wrong way, and that's like I was mainly just using it to promote stuff. And that's the mistake. That's what people usually do when they go on Twitter. And that's why they usually find very little success on Twitter, because they fail to see, they forget that Twitter is a social media website, which requires socializing.
So you mean people are doing like political views and all that other crap?
Yeah, just blasting out like their links to whatever they're selling or websites, whatever, without actually engaging with people.
That's allowed? You're allowed to do that?
Are you allowed to? Well, it's recommended.
Yeah, okay. Just wondering.
But anyways, that's not what we didn't come on here to talk about Twitter and how to
just
use
a little
it.
brief into,
yeah. For those that are wondering, that's Twitter.
Nice.
It's actually, before it got taken over and controlled by propagandaists. Propagandists. Before it got taken over. And
propagandist?
Agendas were pushed and everything else. It was actually a pretty cool platform.
Gotcha.
And it was a platform where it was really the only platform where if you put out a post, anybody could see it as long as their eyes were on the screen when you made the post. And there's really no other social media giant out there that can say that. Like Facebook, we know how Facebook manipulates timelines and stuff. But anyways, we're talking about in this episode Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter.
The only thing I know about it, because I don't care, really, is I just see all these people that are deleting their accounts, and once he took it over, now they're getting, and it's people I've never heard of, so I don't care. So, but a lot of celebrities, I guess, are up in arms about this takeover. It's a hostile takeover.
Yeah, I think there's so much drama, and I think the drama is being artificially created. I think that it just a lot of this seems suspicious. So there's people that are allegedly angry because free speech is now going to be allowed on this platform. Because that's such a horrible thing.
Yeah.
But I just Elon Musk takes over Twitter. Why? Like I watch every now and then I watch Man in America, and it's a podcast, and he was recently talking about Twitter and Elon Musk's takeover, and he made an interesting point. Is it a bit suspicious? Like why is Elon Musk doing this right now?
Oh, he's got so much money.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
bored. That's why.
at this specific time, right as Truth Social is rolling out, it just seems kind of suspicious. Is it possible that he's trying to sabotage the success of Truth Social?
I mean, that's one way to look at it, right? I guess, or he's bored. He's got so much money, he doesn't know what to do with it, and now he wants a social platform. I mean, you think Trump goes back on Twitter now?
Well, no.
Allowed?
Trump is saying he's not.
He's not.
Trump would be allowed because from what I'm hearing, a lot of people's accounts are being reinstated on Twitter that were banned.
Oh.
But Trump specifically said he's not coming back to Twitter.
Yeah. Well, he should start his own.
Well, he is. He's got Truth Social, and I guess within the next few days or so, he's going to be posting on Truth Social.
Nice.
But what's suspicious is, so with Elon Musk, and if you're a part of the Facebook group that this show is affiliated with, End Times and Current Events, I mentioned this in a post that I wrote, that Elon Musk has some interesting ties to the Chinese Communist Party, and he has a big Tesla factory in China, in Shanghai, actually, where all the crazy lockdowns are currently happening. And he is noted in different articles for praising China, and he says that China's the future, and he is a huge supporter of China. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, so all this stuff is kind of suspicious. So here we have this multi-billionaire who is claiming that he's a huge advocate of free speech, but he's also apparently an advocate for China. So I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on.
I've never picked up on that before. Like I never saw that connection. I guess I don't care. But I mean,
yeah,
I don't. I mean, not that I don't care. I don't actively seek that out because I don't care what he's spending his money on, really. But if he's a huge China supporter, well, he's got a factory over there, so he needs them to build cars.
Right. But then you have the fact that Elon Musk wants to insert a chip in people's brains.
Yeah. With
the whole Neuralink technology.
Yeah.
So he wants that, which is really unnerving.
I see what you did there.
I don't really want one of Elon Musk's, computer chips in my brain.
Maybe it starts your car for you.
So
is that what it does?
I don't know. I guess maybe it apparently has these like thin, ultra thin receptors that stick centimeters into your brain.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if they're trying to like read people's minds and thoughts, because apparently this thing is going to extract information from the brain.
Without you letting it.
Right. It's just going to do it. And I imagine also maybe they can even download stuff to your brain.
Yeah. Talk about end time stuff.
Right. So there's that.
So he's... Okay, I didn't know that part about the chips, because I could start a whole new topic on, getting ready for the end. But we'll do that on a different podcast.
Yeah.
So he's taking over Twitter, so that's effective now, right?
So here's the thing. I mean, this is how it can be. This whole thing could be catastrophic, because you're still probably thinking to yourself, if you're listening to this and you don't really know everything that's going on, You might say, well, what's the big deal? So he takes over Twitter. Well, if this takes the sales out of the whole the Truth Social movement, and people say, well, what's the point in going to Truth Social now? Because now we can have free speech again on Twitter. But let's say that within a year or so, maybe even less, maybe Elon Musk goes, you know what? I don't feel like doing this anymore. That's common with billionaires.
Right.
Well, look at Paris Hilton. Not to get too sidetracked here, but look at Paris Hilton. She came out with a studio record years ago, and has she come out with a second one? I don't think so. But anyways, so say he owns this platform, and now he's like, you know what? I don't want it. Or maybe I'll just sell it to somebody else, or maybe
he shuts it down.
Maybe he shuts it down altogether.
Yeah.
Or maybe he gives it to China. Lets China take it over. So, but here's where it's bad, is in that time that, say, he owns Twitter, say Truth Social collapses because everybody decides to just bail on it and stick with Twitter. And then once Truth Social collapses, it can be no more.
Right.
Because the money will be lost, all the investments. But it gets deeper than that, because if you see in the post in the group, I talk about how Truth Social, Trump's media group is much bigger than just Truth Social. Truth Social is one app out of multiple apps that are going to be coming to that group. They have plans for a streaming service. They have plans for like a news network. They have plans for web hosting and web server to compete with Amazon's web servers. Oh, wow. So that, say, Dr. Mike, say you come out with a website, and you talk about things that, maybe the far left doesn't like, you don't have to worry about your website getting shut down.
Gotcha.
So this is a huge movement. So the collapse of Truth Social would be catastrophic to that whole movement. So now that you have the broad picture of what's going on here, that if there was a plan to sabotage Truth Social, it could possibly be done by Elon Musk purchasing Twitter.
How much of a following does Truth Social have? I mean, is it as big as Twitter? It can't be, right?
Well, I don't know. I know there's quite a few people on it already. From what I heard, I don't have access to it yet. But from what I heard, Trump already has 1.5 million followers on Truth Social.
Gotcha. Well, what's Twitter have? Billions.
I don't, believe it or not, I don't think they have that many users. I don't know, though. I lost track. At one time, there was only like 2 million users on Twitter, but that was years ago. I'm sure there's many more by now.
So how does Twitter make their money?
They don't.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Well, how do you get this valuation of $43 billion?
It had to do with...
Do they sell ads or anything?
It had to do... No. The only thing that I don't think they sell ads, but they sell post boosts.
Oh, okay.
So like if you want to boost your tweet so that more people see it, they do that.
They sell that.
But they don't really do ads, because the problem is with Twitter is, like, say if you go to the desktop website, maybe there's ads on there, but most people don't use Twitter that way. They use it on their phones, and there's all different types of apps that don't have ad support. Right. So for years, this was the complaint, and that's probably why Google never wanted to buy Twitter. See, this is where these are nerdy things that a lot of people don't know about that I know about. But years ago, going back quite a few years ago, Twitter was hoping Google would buy Twitter.
Gotcha.
They wanted to be bought out, probably because they knew it was a money pit. They weren't making any money. And Google didn't want to buy them because Google at the time, again, this is showing you how long ago this is. Do you remember Google Buzz?
No.
Google came out with their version of Twitter, and it was called Google Buzz. Well, that flopped. Google Buzz is no more.
I never heard of it.
But yeah, so Google was doing their own thing. They didn't want Twitter. So now fast forward to present day, Elon Musk comes out of like nowhere and says, I want to buy Twitter. And they're like, no.
It is kind of out of nowhere.
And we're just like scratching our heads like, what do you mean no? You wanted to sell this platform years ago because you weren't making any money. But now Elon Musk comes out of the shadows and offers you $43 billion.
How do you get that estimation? I just don't understand how the company's evaluated it at $43 billion.
Well, I didn't understand it either, and I thought it was ludicrous. But then it breaks down to like how much money he's going to pay per share, and I guess that's what it equated to.
Gotcha.
So the thing is, because Twitter wasn't a privately owned company, now it is. It's owned by Elon Musk.
Right.
But because it wasn't privately owned, it was basically, I guess, like a corporation comprised of shareholders. And basically, you have to, and by the law, you have to do what's in the best interest for the shareholders. So you had all these shareholders going, well, what do you mean you don't want to sell? We want this.
Yeah. They probably voted. Yeah.
So they were forced to sell.
You think people made money on that? I don't know.
Well, the shareholders did. I don't know if I think anybody that had any kind of investment in Twitter, sure, they're happy about this.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It does seem to me, for who doesn't follow all of this, Twitter for sure and Instagram. I'm not big follower of all that. To hear him come out of nowhere and say he's going to purchase it, right away, and like, for what?
And all of a sudden, he's this big free speech advocate.
All of a sudden, right? I didn't know that either.
For the longest time, I never even knew who Elon Musk was.
Right.
And now he's like out in the open.
Yeah.
Just like, Klaus Schwab. Like, I didn't know who Klaus Schwab is. Now he's out. Everybody's talking about Klaus Schwab now.
Yeah, I'm not. I just said.
I don't know. It's spooky. It's eerie what's going on. And I'm kind of curious. Like, I don't know what direction Elon Musk is going to go in as far as Twitter. Like, as I'm sure he's business oriented. He's a businessman. So how does he plan on monetizing this platform? Because I don't see why you would want to take on a money pit. I was reading an article a while ago talking about Twitter, and it was basically saying that Twitter costs more money. The more people they get, the more users they get on their platform, the more servers they have to purchase, the more money the more money Twitter costs.
Yeah.
It doesn't profit them.
I don't get it. I know he's been very active on social media now, as a joke, saying, I'm going to buy all the ice cream I'm going to buy McDonald's next and fix all the ice cream machines because their ice cream machines never work. He's saying he's going to buy Coca-Cola and put cocaine back in it. Like, he's very active on social media. Yeah. Check that out. It's coming from him. It's funny if it's really him, but that's what's out there. That's what I look at and laugh.
Yeah. I don't know. I like I said, on the surface, it all sounds great. My dad, he sent me a text message earlier this morning and said, "Wow, it's this hooray! Celebrate Twitter because we got free speech now." Yeah. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "For now." I said, "But I don't trust Elon Musk."
It's you bring up an interesting topic with the Chinese. I had no connection of him in China at all.
Well, nobody. I don't think most people do, because the problem is, and there's so many. The wool is being pulled over the eyes of people so often now because so many people just live in the moment.
Right.
And they know that. That's why we get bombarded 24/7 with news and like what's going on. Like, oh, just last week we were talking about how everyone's sick and we all have to wear our masks. Now this week, oh, look at the war going on over in this country. And now no one's talking about what just happened last week because we're all distracted. Right. So if Elon Musk came out and said that China is the future a year ago, who remembers? Yeah. Who's paying attention? A year ago, shoot, that's like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Because when people aren't even keeping track of what happened last week, well, you can just forget about a year ago.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, I didn't make that connection at all. So I wonder what China would do with Twitter, other than you see how they flood their inhabitants with how they control their thought patterns.
Well, China is known to censor their internet like crazy.
Right.
And it's believed by some that China already has influence over companies like Google. Would they? I'm sure they would love to sink their claws into Twitter. They probably had their claws in Twitter before Elon Musk owned it, and maybe they even still do, because from what I'm reading, it sounds like he's a huge advocate for China.
It makes you wonder.
It kind of I kind of get this feeling like we're all being bamboozled.
Duped. We're all duped. I mean, what other motive would he have? And he sells it for $44 billion, makes $1 billion. You know, so
it none of this makes sense from a business standpoint. This is a guy that he made billions of dollars, and who in their right mind would want to spend billions of dollars on a company that basically makes no money for the goodness of his heart, out of the goodness of his heart, for the benefit of the average person?
There's a long con involved, for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like who's really funding this?
So does that, let's draw the conclusion, right? So, big advocate for China. China's already said they're partnering with Russia, right? Russia's at war with
there's
Ukraine,
a pact. There's a pact between China and Russia,
right? So, you think we're at war with China next? Is that too deep? Is that too deep down the hole? Can you deductively or can you put the 2 and 2 and make 7?
I mean, I think there's always been this animosity between the United States and China, but I don't think as of now, I don't think there's going to be a war.
It's not. If you look at what Puppet did, and he's going to Congress and asking for so many more billions to send over there.
I mean, if anything, what's even worse, if anything, I think there would be an attempt of a takeover, because, from what I heard a long time ago, there's a lot of Chinese influence in our government.
Yeah.
Look at Biden. So Biden, I think it was before he was elected president, he had so much money given to him from the Chinese government.
Well, him and his son, right? That's Russia. Oh.
Him and his son, or him and his wife.
Yeah.
They gave him so many millions of dollars.
Yeah, I lost track.
Or is it billions? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But he was I mean, there's so much corruption involved. So what is it going to be, like a phone call? Like, all right, guys, come in and take over,
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So what do we draw the conclusion of the purchase? What do we think?
Well, all of this stuff is speculation. I don't know for a fact. Just as Seth said from Man in America, he hopes, and I hope that this is real, that he's being genuine, that he really wants, that he's really an advocate for free speech. But then at the same time, let's not be foolish. Let's not be naive. I'm not saying to completely rule it out, but just keep your eyes and ears open to what's going on. And if something doesn't seem right, then maybe it's not right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have somebody that's a huge advocate and is pushing for everyone to get some kind of injected computer chip installed behind your ear and into your brain, and then you have the same person who's also an advocate for China, and they say China is the future, then you have to question whether this person is really pro free speech or not. Yeah. Because we clearly know that China is not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing we can all clearly agree on.
Well, if China's the future, free speech isn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in a worst case scenario, say Elon Musk owns China.
Yeah.
Say Elon Musk owns Twitter, which he does own Twitter.
Yeah.
But say he bought it just to hand it over, or to hand the keys over to China.
Yeah.
Because obviously China can't come out and say, I want to buy Twitter.
Right.
I mean, they'd have to be, no one would go along with that. No one would be okay with that. But Elon Musk walks in and says, hey, I'm all about free speech. Come on, guys, and then he throws his money around, and all of a sudden he has Twitter. But what if it's not really his? What if he's not the one that's really going to be doing anything with it?
Well, I would assume you would start to pick, if you're actively on Twitter, you'll start to see little hints of messages coming through, pointed at. If China's going to be behind it, you'll start to see, the attack on free speech again. And you'll start to see, their agenda come through.
Oh, I'm sure. If that's true, if that theory came true, then I would say that the free speech aspect would just be an illusion, and that would slowly go away.
I mean, do we even think about it? We have no free speech as it is now. That's what this country's built on. But I mean, we're attacked every day with what you say. You can't say anything.
Oh yeah,
without getting in trouble. So that's not free speech.
I mean,
anymore.
Even if you take away all the recent years, excuse me. Even if you take away within the recent years, if you take away all the political stuff, I mean, what about all the quote unquote politically incorrect things that you can no longer say?
Yeah.
And then you get canceled for that.
Yeah. I don't know, there must be fireworks out there.
Is that outside?
Yeah.
What in the world?
Well, maybe we're at war right now.
I hope not.
I don't know what's happening.
Well, hopefully we can finish this show first.
Yeah, jeez.
Quiet out there, guys. We're trying to finish this show.
Behind enemy lines. Here we are.
Yeah, hold on.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, that's not sound effects, okay? We're not like the fake news that are reporting war coverage.
Yeah, that sounds like a 50 going off out
there. I just dropped the bomb.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
You hear about the fake news coverage on the wars?
It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I know we're getting off topic here, but I watched this one video clip. The Ukrainian military was walking through these quote unquote minefields.
Mm-hmm. This is a real story or a fake story?
It's a real story.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So there was footage online, and they were going, "Oh my gosh, these poor soldiers having to walk through these mines, the minesweepers that are looking for mines."
Right.
And they said, "Oh, but what about the camera guy?"
Yeah.
Because the camera guy was out in front of them, and they're getting all these different angles.
Gotta get him, yeah.
And well, if they're really sleuthing for mines, how is the camera guy up ahead of them?
He gets paid a lot, I guess. Just in case.
You're not supposed to think about that.
Yeah. So yeah, minefield. I mean, how do you detect mines in a field now? You don't. It's not the old way where you walk out and you draw the short straw and you run across the field.
But you're definitely going to have the minesweeper out in front of the camera guy, not the other way around.
Yeah. So staged minesweeper.
Yeah, staged.
Remember that game Minesweeper? You ever play that?
No, I never played it. I heard of it though.
That's fun.
But it just goes to show you that you can't trust anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I was trying to. Hang on, did I hit the right button?
I don't know. Can you still hear me? Oh, you got flash photography over there.
What's going on here?
You don't have a seizure.
I don't know.
All that flashing.
Oh, I know what the problem is.
Uh-oh.
I had the volume turned all the way down. We're still learning this board.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That's what you get for
So we don't have
volume.
We don't have any fake explosion sounds yet or fake gun.
No, that was real. We're behind enemy lines.
Yeah,
we're coming to you live, Irish and Greek.
So what we'll have, if we ever wanted to, report like the fake news and report fake news coverage of wars, we would have to get those sound effects first.
Maybe we do that as a project next time. Our next session, as we come to everybody live from behind the line.
Yeah.
Right? And tell them that we're in a foxhole. We'll see how many.
But it's amazing. We have all this gear with us.
Yeah. We mind swept ahead of time, and then we're safe, and we'll see how we'll put some explosions in the back. It's some machine gun fire, people screaming.
We're going to make it good. We're going to make it good, and everyone's going to be terrified and be like, wow, Dr. Mike and JB, the Greek and the Irishman.
Really connected.
Those guys are freaking hardcore, man.
Those guys went out, and they're really dedicated to this.
They bought that soundboard, and they went full throttle.
Yeah. So that's what we'll do. We'll see how many people can write in and say, good luck, stay safe. That'll be our next project. We'll go on Twitter and we'll tweet all about it. See what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's Elon Musk. For you.
that's Elon Musk.
Is he still doing SpaceX or what? What's going on? Are we going to space anymore?
Yeah, he's got all different kinds of projects going on.
So we're still in.
I'm not sure what's going on with SpaceX. I'm stuck on the whole Neuralink thing. Like that's just.
I haven't heard about that. Like I haven't caught up with it. The last I've heard was, people wanting to implant, a chip like the size of a grain of rice in your hand or in your palm.
No, this one is different. I mean, it's not. The thing is that because we obviously we talk about the mark of the beast and stuff like that. But
right.
One thing that we all have to be really clear on here is that the mark of the beast is an act of worship. So it's something that you're not going to be like, oh no, did I get the mark of the beast? No, I think you're going to know. This is a decision. This is a clear decision that everyone's going to be forced to make if you're around during that time.
Well, it's just like it will be a mark of some sort, though, because you're going to, without going off on tangent. I mean, you talk about not being able to buy and sell and without having the mark. It's kind of like, you going to a city like Chicago and being told you can't have dinner because you don't have your papers with you saying you're vaccinated.
Right.
So
all this is to groom people for that mentality.
Right. Exactly.
But the bottom line is, even if this whole Neuralink thing is not the mark of the beast, which I don't think it is, do you really want this thing sticking in your brain? I mean, this is just not normal. This is not natural.
Well, they're going to sell it as, as you need to have it because it's so important for you. I mean, all the information that you need in your lifetime is now the size of a pinhead, and that can be put under
a pinhead.
Yeah, a pinhead. And then, what's that music?
I don't know.
What was that? Are we getting shut off?
Are we being censored?
Oh my goodness.
I thought we were on platforms that didn't censor, although I did start posting to Facebook.
Oh, there we go. Oh, look at by the sound of the tone, I could tell.
What were we talking about? Pinheads?
Yeah, pinhead. It's like, so all that information is, you can put on all the information you'll need in your lifetime is on a chip the size of a pin, right? So you don't need to carry anything around anymore. You don't need your keys anymore. You don't need.
Well, that's how they're selling everything. Like, oh, well, you have your medical information in case of emergencies, and well, you don't have to worry about if you lose your your credit cards or your wallets or anything like that.
Yeah, I like this.
This is nice music.
I like that.
Where are we? Are we back in the motherland again?
Yeah, we're definitely not behind enemy lines right now. I know that. That'd be different music. This is nice. This takes me back.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take you back to Greece.
Well, maybe. If I had a donkey.
If you lived in Greece and you happen to be listening to Irish music.
Yeah, there we go. I can see the picture now.
Yeah.
Sitting over the field.
Yep.
Eating a lamb kebab.
Eating a gyro and thinking about what they're doing over there in Ireland.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm sure that was on their minds.
Listening to bagpipes.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Listening to out of tune instruments.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Is that our out of town music?
Yeah, I guess it wasn't a really long episode, but
that's good.
Yeah.
We could talk about Elon Musk forever.
I'm sure we could.
I'm sure we're going to.
if we cracked open more, if I actually had the articles in front of me, and the information on hand, you probably would be like in total disbelief about the things we could say about him, but. This isn't a smear campaign. I'm just saying, be open-minded. I hope he is on the up and up with Twitter, but let's just not be so gullible, and let's just do a little bit of our own research.
I'm gonna do my homework on this chip for this
Neuralink.
Yeah, never heard of that. I'm gonna check it out.
All right,
man. For next,
that's it. Greek and the Irishman, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you guys next time.